Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the SX monthly podcast. Just here to give you guys all of the updates on all things SX. So we got Andrew here and myself as usual. Yeah, how you doing, Andrew?
I'm good. I'm good. We got to do. We got to do more of these. It's becoming a SX quarterly, so we got to get back to our monthly cadence, so we can truly call this SX monthly.
Yeah, kind of fun though, because we got lots to catch up on and definitely lots to talk about. So yeah, without further ado, yeah, guys. So I think we're just gonna take a chance this episode to talk some more about plans for 2024. Obviously, it's the turnover of the year. Hope everybody had a fantastic holiday season and New Year. Crypto's kind of been rallying back, and we had the BTC ETF approval. Things are kind of cooking in the space, but yeah, I think we're definitely pretty excited for what's to come this year.
Yeah, crypto has been obviously killing it the last kind of 4 or 5 months. I think there's like three big catalysts for crypto in 2024 that I've been really excited about. The first, obviously, was just like the Bitcoin ETF. The second is we got the Bitcoin halving coming up soon, which should be good. I think that's in April, and then of course it looks like we're sort of at the end of the rate hiking cycle, and maybe even some rate cuts over the next. I think the market's kind of implying 7 over the next year, which seems a bit aggressive to me, but obviously very good for crypto.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely going to be keeping a keen eye to what happens with that. Yeah, so in terms of just like getting into some things from the roadmap, I think would be worth giving some more context to SX users and stuff. Maybe we could talk a little bit about like sort of a theme for 2024, and one thing that we mentioned in the roadmap was growth, and putting some resources towards that. And one of the biggest things for us that I'm most anticipating myself is coming to new chains and going cross chain. I know in a lot of ways we're kind of the first to do this, specific to SX's use case, and maybe you could tell us a bit more about going cross chain and what that's all about.
Yeah, there's a bunch of things I'm really excited about in 2024. I think the first, like you said, is the most obvious, kind of lowest hanging fruit, is going cross chain. So right now, obviously, SX is on its own blockchain, which is the SX network, SX network blockchain. But in a lot of ways, we what's really cool is we can actually bring the SX Bet app onto other chains and benefit from the distribution of those other chains, because they have already large communities. So one of the big items on our roadmap is to essentially deploy the SX Bet app on these other chains and do it in a way where users from, for example, Arbitrum can place a bet straight from their wallet with USDC on the Arbitrum chain, and the bet actually hits the main SX network SX Bet app. So it's almost like you think of SX Bet as like a liquidity hub, and then all these other chains are like spokes where you can essentially place trades, but they all end up hitting the SX network order book. The reason why that's really good is the sort of cost typically with going multi-chain is that you have to fragment your liquidity on every single chain you launch. So for DeFi protocols, that means having essentially their TVL split across essentially every chain that they launch on, which is great because they get a lot of users, or it's easier to get users when you bring the app to them, but it hurts kind of like the core liquidity network effect. And so what's cool with how we're doing it is our market makers can just stay on SX chain, and but we bring the decentralized application to users on these other chains, which is amazing for the network effects. And then all the transactions still hit the sort of SX network hub. So I think it's a very additive way of launching, of essentially going multi-chain. And we're really excited about a lot of chains that are coming out recently. So there's kind of like the core L2s like Arbitrum and Optimism, which I think are exciting. I think potentially in a bull market, which is kind of what we're going into right now, those chains will probably become more and more expensive. So they may even become sort of infeasible to be on in like 2 years. So I think that's kind of like right now, though, there's obviously a lot of users there, and it is kind of like an easy source of distribution. But there's a number of new L1s that I'm really excited about, that are kind of coming out over the next kind of 6 months. Things like Berachain, Monad, and there's a number other L2s like Mantle that are kind of growing a lot faster. So yeah, we're really excited about kind of this new emerging ecosystem.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting to see, and kind of being part of the team and getting to see, things unfold on that has been pretty exceptional. It's a pretty groundbreaking piece for us to be implementing. I'm super excited to see that come out. And it seems like something that's like basically limitless to be applied to more chains and more chains as new tech is developed and comes out, and that's going to allow us to grow through that sort of engine that you talked about.
Yeah, 100%. And I think like one of the big going on our own app chain has given us far more stability than we ever had when SX was on Ethereum, for example, and then later Polygon POS. So having your own environment and having sort of sovereignty over your gas cost is huge, but it is obviously a friction point for more casual sports bettors. And so if SX is really going to become kind of like what I call like the liquidity hub of Web3 sports betting, then it's crucial that it's not just a platform for whales and very sophisticated market makers. And so so I'm really excited about that. The way we sort of think about Web3 sports betting is there's going to be kind of like a diffused community of sports bettors on all these different chains. And our goal with SX is to kind of build like the central cluster, so that it's kind of the best place in the world for sophisticated market makers to get liquidity, for developers to build on, and so the more we can kind of get distribution for the SX Bet app while still kind of keeping control of the network effects of having our own chain, I think that's like a really, really exciting sort of exciting thing on the roadmap.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely, without a doubt. It's pretty exciting to see that coming to SX. So another thing that was mentioned in the roadmap that I actually noticed a little bit of confusion from some members in the Discord, so I thought it'd be worth talking about a little bit, is SX token coming to Ethereum. And I noticed some users perhaps who aren't as familiar with Web3, don't quite understand like what kind of opportunities that opens up. So I know that's something that's coming in the future. Maybe you could speak to the benefits and opportunities that come from launching the SX token itself on Ethereum.
Yeah, so I think honestly the biggest thing there is just clearing up a lot of the confusion, because currently we have this old SportX token on Ethereum, but then obviously SportX rebranded to SX Network, but that's not reflected on chain. So right now essentially you can bridge SportX tokens onto the SX Network chain itself, but then you can't bridge the SX tokens back because there's no like native SX Network token on Ethereum, which creates kind of a sort of breaks a lot of the arbitrage as well as like just liquidity that we could benefit from if we were able to if you could actually bridge the native token out. So I think that's going to be really good for that. Opens up a lot of opportunities, some of which I'm excited to announce to the community in the next kind of, I guess they will get announced to the community in the next kind of couple of weeks. So stay tuned there. And I think just kind of it clears up a lot of the confusion and just gives people more flexibility. And related to that too, we're also working on a new bridge for the SX Network chain itself. So I know a lot of like the bridging experience, while secure, is sometimes not the best, and so we're working on essentially building out a much better bridging system and making it far easier for users to bridge assets onto and off of the SX Network chain.
Yeah, for sure. That's another really exciting one to see coming. I think that's for sure one of the biggest UX hurdles, especially for our more sports better focused and not native Web3 users. I think it's going to make it a lot easier for a lot of users to be onboarded. and definitely, exaggerate the network effects, coming in for new users. So another thing in the roadmap that's got me pretty excited that we actually just announced one of today is like the presence of a developer community on SX Network and third-party projects. I know we've specifically mentioned a few of them in the roadmap. Maybe we could talk a little bit more about a few of those that have already been announced to the community and get people excited about what's going to be coming to the SX ecosystem.
Yeah, so I think this is the thing that is by far the most slept on right now in just generally in the sort of SX Network community is how many projects are coming onto SX Network chain in the next really in Q1, so next kind of like 2.5 months. The first one was announced today, which was Liquistake, which is essentially like a liquid staking protocol for the SX Network token. So by far the biggest source of whatever we'll call it TVL, as everyone calls it, biggest source of TVL right now in SX Network ecosystem is obviously the staked SX. I think right now there's 140 million SX staked. And the kind of the issue there is once you stake SX, like that's it. You can't do anything with that SX. And so what's really cool about with Liquistake is it actually allows users to tokenize their staked SX position itself, which means they can use that to swap LP or even potentially lend or borrow against it. Like essentially it frees up all that collateral. So it's going to be a huge boost to the sort of like native DeFi ecosystem of SX. It just frees up a huge amount of capital. So I'm really excited about that. And that's kind of like the first big piece of our plan there. There's a bunch of other projects that are going to be announced in the upcoming weeks. I don't want to give away too much. I mean, we did mention in the roadmap, projects like DegenLend, which is like a lending protocol built for SX, which again sort of plays well with the Liquistake. There's some really cool projects on the sports betting side itself. So a lot of these are like no code tools. So users can build their own back-tested quantitative strategies, build their own market making operations if they want, identify positive EV opportunities in the ecosystem. So that's going to be a huge boost. I think like our plan is to build the best developer ecosystem in the world for Web3 sports betting. And I think over the next couple of months, we're really going to establish that. So I'm super pumped about that. And then finally, there's some really cool sort of other apps. So one of them, for example, we talked about in, I think, November or December, this thing called Tipster Protocol, which essentially allows users to create their own effectively social tokens if they wanted to. So to take a step back, there's like a whole cottage industry of sports betting tipsters and cappers in Web2 traditional sports betting worlds. And the problem is, and they essentially sell picks so that users can subscribe to their channels and effectively get free research and free picks straight to their inbox. The problem is it's really hard to actually verify people's track records. So you have no idea if these people are actually good or not at sports betting. So what's really cool with SX, because it's fully blockchain based, every single bet is verifiable and timestamped on chain, and so it allows users to build verifiable track records, which gives people way more confidence that these people are actually, their track records are what they say they are, and gives them a lot more sort of credibility. So what's cool is because all the SX data is open source and on chain, it allows anyone to like plug into that and show their sort of verifiable track record on chain. And so what you could do effectively is create almost like a friend tech meets sports betting type of project where users can create their own like expert Telegram groups if they want. If you want to get access, you have to buy that tipsters token. I mean, there's all sorts of other ways it can sort of play out, but I think that's really, really cool, bringing transparency to sort of like a subsector of the sports betting world that, in my opinion, desperately needs it. I mean, that's kind of the first couple. there's going to be more and more. If anyone's interested in building on SX Network, we've reopened our grants program, so we're really looking for more and more developers to build cool tools or apps or protocols. So just reach out to us on Discord or Telegram, and we'd be happy to help you in any way we can.
Yeah, those are it's pretty exciting to see those tools coming. And I think on the one side, like the transparency and stuff, like with Tipster is fantastic, but it's also cool just to like open up the doors for like the regular retail bettor who wants to gain access to reliable picks without having somebody come in charging them $100 a month and then giving them shit picks the entire time. So that's pretty cool too, and that ties in as well with like some of the no code market making bots and stuff, and it feels like we're building a platform that helps all bettors become better bettors. And so that's pretty cool to see, sort of like passing the empowerment over to more people to not just gamble but trade.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think I think like our goal is obviously with anything that's Web3 based, you benefit from the fact that it's fully non-custodial, which just gives you like complete transparency and security over everything. But I think like one of the things that's sort of slept on a lot is how because everything's on-chain, open source, and effectively programmable, it's a fully sort of open garden for outside developers to build on, which I think is a bit of a superpower. And that's something that we're focusing more and more time on to kind of give. It's almost in a way like outsourcing our product roadmap and allowing instead of building it ourselves, we allowing the community to essentially build the ecosystem. It gives users like far more options. And I just think it's really, really sort of cool and unique aspect of SX that I think will increasingly be a bigger portion of like what SX is.
Yeah, it's awesome to see that coming together. So pretty excited for 2024. I think I speak for a lot of people on that. There's a lot of awesome things coming to SX this year, and I think we're in for a great year, and I'm excited to be part of the team that's bringing such a transformative platform to the betting industry. But I think that
no, I mean, I think just one other thing that's probably worth pointing out too. We're building out cash out as well, so enabling bettors to cash in and out of positions if they want. There's a host of other sort of upgrades to make the platform more of like a trading experience. So I think that's really, really cool. And besides that, just stay tuned. I mean, there's going to be a lot more announcements in the sort of Discord over the next couple of weeks and months. Really excited about all the things that are being built on the SX Network ecosystem. And really excited for all these product upgrades on the sort of like SXBet app itself. So yeah.
Yeah, sweet guys. As Andrew said, stay tuned for everything coming up. And maybe one last thing before we go, let's hear the playoff pick for NFL.
I don't know. It's tough. Why don't you go first on your NFL pick?
I'm kind of back in Detroit now, which feels wrong, as so many people from around here are Bills fans. But I like the Lions story, and I like Jared Goff, so let's see them take it.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's tough to back anyone but the 49ers right now, but I mean, we'll see. I also I love CJ Stroud, so I would love the Texans to go far, but it looks like they're 10-point underdog against the Ravens, so that's a bit steep. I think Lions is a good dark horse pick. I mean, I kind of want Baker to go far, so I think he's having obviously a huge comeback season. So
for sure.
I mean, obviously Bills
tweets this week about his comeback.
Game is going to be pretty ridiculous. That's wild that we're getting that already. So it should be good.
Yeah, blown by. Okay, guys, thank you so much for listening in, and stay tuned for all the updates coming.